Welcome to the System Simplified podcast, where we feature top leaders who share stories on how to successfully systemize a business. Now, let's get started with the show. Hello, Adi Klevit here, the host of the System Simplified podcast, where I feature top founders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders about systematizing a business. And today's episode is being brought to you by Business Success Consulting Group, where we create, document, optimize, and implement processes and procedures so businesses can grow and thrive. And today's guest is Hannah Milojevich. Hi, Hannah.
Hello.
How are you?
Sunny and happy.
That's awesome. That's very, very good. So, you and I met at NABO, the National Association of Women Business Owners, and that's how we got connected. So definitely a big shout out to NABO and to Linda Bishop for putting together the circle and great retreats and great conferences where we get connected. And it's always good to have those in-person meetings, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Fills our cup.
Absolutely. Okay, good. So let me start by reading your bio, and then we'll have our conversation. So Hannah, okay, so here we go. Hannah, your career experience is in the beauty industry for the last 17 years as a multi-location salon owner, working over 150 runway shows in the Fashion Week circuit. That must have been fun.
It's a ride.
And consulting beauty industry owners as they open or expand their brick and mortar spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And you strategically sold both salon locations, the salon location building, in a 3-year pause to the sale price to take the time to launch your next business pursuit, which is beauty industry adjacent. So what's the next pursuit?
It's in the hospitality industry. So an event venue, so a purpose-built event venue in the same market as my salon. So really captivating the knowledge, experience, and relationships there. But it'll be riverfront, hosting mostly weddings with a strong lean towards social and corporate, and really looking to bring other urban markets into this smaller market with its vision.
That's fun. So what made you change from the beauty industry to now a new industry? Where is that transition and what led to it?
Oh gosh, it was a morphing of ideas. So it started with wanting to, I think, challenge myself into a new industry, and I had started a residential small portfolio real estate, owning 3 rental properties, and then I was with my both salon locations. I was in a triple net lease, so I was a tenant, and I saw how much we paid of the commercial property. And I thought, wouldn't it be, as I think most do who have brick and mortars, wouldn't it be wonderful to own your own building that you operated your business out of? And with the sale of my businesses, I thought I had the most capital I've ever had in my life, and I can look to do that. So the first pursuit was just commercial real estate. And that morphed into, okay, well, I can own commercial real estate and be a tenant, but I'm pretty good at running businesses. So let me own the building and then run a business out of it. And this is just where it's landed into. My husband has been in the wedding industry for all of his career. He owns photography company. And so seeing that industry and being really interested in its growth is where this has landed.
That's great. And what is your vision in terms of the growth? I mean, are you looking at different locations? When you start, I mean, the question is, you definitely expanded your beauty industry, the salon and the beauty and the beauty industry. You expanded that. Do you now foresee several locations for the event industry? Do you start, when you have your business plan, do you start already, okay, I am going to be in this many years, that many locations? So are you looking just expanding this one, see what happens, and then expand?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's a fun one because it's been in conversation a lot recently. Absolutely, to expanding into some really unique offerings. We've had the privilege I've lived in up and down the East Coast and have traveled a good amount. And so being able to bring those experiences from different venues, from hospitality, from hotels, from restaurants, and then taking all of those concepts and launching them into a smaller market that has a bit more traditional event venues and bringing some unique offerings, like let's say a really amazing field that has this built out tent space and just some things that we have seen in travels that are not currently being offered where we're based. So long answer is yes, there is a plan for expansion, and I was building out through projections recently. So it was really fun to see that if we hit target goals at year three, that that bucket can start to be saved for the next pursuit.
That's wonderful. And how do you come up with what is needed? I mean, do you do a market research? Do you do a survey? How do you know that those features, yeah, they don't exist, but how do you make sure that those features are actually needed as well, that there is a need for it?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think we'll come to that, for when those um, versions actually come into place. For this one in particular, it's a waterfront town. It's located between the river and the ocean, and there is just one place that you can have an event, get married, that has water views. So as you can imagine, we're all naturally drawn to water views. We want to eat with a water view. We want to go to a hotel with a water view. So just capitalizing on that first and foremost, and then identifying too what is the maximum size that most of the event venues in this market can hold, and wanting to offer a larger that isn't a hotel ballroom. Essentially, those are the only ones that can hold about 300 people in our area. So that was the vision. It was done with a lot of market research using some different event planners to reach out and ask, what's your availability? What are you booked? And from that, being able to build a real number. Here is the percent of productivity or percent of booking. Percent of productivity was a metric in the beauty industry. And I tend to use that same vocabulary and copy and paste it, but percent of bookings and knowing their rental rates, it was cool to build out what these businesses I approximate are performing now, and that they're already booked into 2028.
Wow, I can imagine that that's happening. So that's definitely
Mm-hmm.
going to be up and running, and just your new business is definitely going to expand. When you started
Mm-hmm.
your first one, you were pretty young. I mean, you're young now as well, but you were at the beginning of your career.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. That was that's certainly risky, but I think age and innocence, I had a little bit of naivety mixed in that, had good things for me because I was 26. I just moved back from New York. So I was quite confident from being in a city market, and this was in the salon world. And I began working in the salon, and the owner, she just asked if I wanted to take over. I think she'd asked probably a few more people before me. Maybe I was the only one ridiculous enough to say yes, but it worked out in the end, and I owned that business for 10 years to the day before I sold it.
Amazing. So what are some of the successful actions that you did in order to expand it? Because obviously it wasn't the way that you sold it, at the time that you bought it.
Yeah, that's, that's certainly true. The beauty industry is a really beautiful thing. It's also very complex, and it's filled with artists who are wanting to do their craft. And there's a few different models that the beauty industry implements in the cities more so. Let's say Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco, Atlanta, even. It's more employee based, where really the salon supports the brand and the marketing, and then has employees and has a growth plan, has a training program, and really has consistency in systems. So that was my first entry into the industry in New York City. And I wanted to bring that into a smaller market. The more common in smaller markets is a rental. So it's called booth rental, it's called suite rental. I know you've had some industry people on your podcast. I watched their prior videos. And so introducing this um, employee based market was really important to me because I wanted there to be a growth for promotion. I wanted there to be an instant training program. I wanted to have these systems that made the experience consistent for both the clients and the team.
Right.
And
And
that
that's
was,
the importance of systems and processes. And how do you feel that affected your business and eventually the sale and the price of the business?
oh gosh, hugely. Year one, when I came in, it was the prior structure. So mostly rentals, which meaning, revenue for the business was static and unable to grow because it was just dependent on subcontractors paying you a rent. So I restructured in year two, which really opened the doors for having capital to put back into the business and invest into growth. and then began a training program. And mostly, instead of hiring outside talent, I trained my talent from the inside out to grow with the company. And the cool part is now I've been out almost 3 years. So there's been several of the team that have been with the company for 13 years, which is really unheard of in the beauty
Oh,
industry.
it
If people
is. I
have,
mean, that retention is amazing and it's well done. So
yeah.
that just proves that having systems helps you with retention.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like we want to know where we can go. Where can we grow? Are we earning more next year? How do we know we're earning more next year? And how are we performing now? So my biggest what I can look back to is knowing to do a monthly performance review. This is in any industry, right? But sitting down with each team member, each revenue producing team member, each hairstylist, and saying, here's what last month looked like, here's what last quarter looked like, here's where your goals are for growth. And I did those I did not skip a month in my 10 years. So 10 times 10 times however many employees. And I thought that was the most important thing is consistency and showing performance to implement those systems, right? Not just having them there, but actually have them breathe life into the business.
For sure. So, what do you think was successful in terms of the training? Like what components did you
Mm.
have there that led to that success?
Yeah, we had everything was attached to a number. So it tried to take the emotion and subjectivity out. And so that's where all the questions and the fears can come out of. So as you're a new talent coming in through an apprenticeship program, you knew exactly how many of this service you needed to do. You knew exactly who you reported to and what they needed to say and get back to. You knew how many clients you needed to see. You knew exactly what you needed to hit on percent, like I said, productivity or percent rebooking or average ticket in order to get to the next step. And so I believe, and what I've heard from feedback and having also our culture around empathy and around conversation too. I'm tough and there's freedom in the framework, but I also have high expectations and I hired in that way too. I believe people could attain a high bar if you put it before them, but also laid the pathwork out.
Absolutely. I mean, I think those are all components that lead to a lot of success. So definitely well done on that. How did it affect the selling price?
Yeah, so I had it actually did evaluation in year 5, and this is when I was still working in the business. I was not the main revenue producer, but at this time I was looking to open, well, I wanted to step out of the business from taking clients. I wanted to solely work on it and not in it. And I decided, well, I'll just move away from the town, which is a very odd decision for owners. But I moved up to Washington, D.C. I was still, a 6 hour drive from my business. And I decided I'm going to move away. I'm going to go back once a month because I had gotten an evaluation that I was not pleased with, and I wanted it to be about double of that. So I knew I really needed to zoom out, and I needed to focus on the business growth. I needed to remove myself as a revenue producer, which would impact valuation overall. And I just really wanted to become that business owner. It was also in that same year that the opportunity to open a second location came. Thankfully, we opened it as a separate entity, so they were valued differently and ran themselves separately, and no finances were shared. That was one piece of advice um, my performance coach or business mentor gave me from the get go was don't don't let them share from each other. I forget the saying he used, but I took that to heart. And anyway, all that to say is the knowledge of that valuation and knowing where I wanted to go and then being able to map that out with separate entities, having separate goal numbers because they were operating in very different revenue markets was became my target from year 5 to year 10.
And you accomplished that. So having all those
Mm-hmm.
systems in place and all that organization led to a higher valuation.
Exactly. Yeah, because I knew in the beauty industry, we really aim, I mean, it's for profit margins to educate anyone. 10% is a great profit margin in the beauty
Mm-hmm.
industry, which is tough. Many industries, you've got 40, 40, 30%. So I knew I wanted to get to 12%, and that would really take me up to being valued at, one annual year of business revenue, which is the target for salon.
That's fantastic. So it shows that having systems and having predicting can help you predict the value of the business or increase the value of the business. So you were able to do something about it as opposed to, well, that's the way it is, that's the industry, or I can't do anything about it. So you were really able to control that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, really getting nitty gritty. I loved that Profit First for, well, Profit First in general. And then there's a woman who wrote Profit First for Salon. So I ended up working with and coaching several salon owners under her umbrella. But it gave a really beautiful blueprint into systematizing, into maintaining your budget and sticking to that. So it all flowed and led to the goals that were set before you.
Yeah, so it's really based on that you can control and you can do it, which is a fantastic, fantastic example that you just set right now. So thank you for sharing that. So if
Yeah.
you, in closing, if you had an advice that you would like to give to entrepreneurs that are looking at either opening their first business or they're already in the business, they're successful, they're looking at exiting, starting another one, what would you tell them?
Oh gosh. I always just go back to the numbers, and I mean, I did not study finance. I was a communication studies major in college. But I think if you really know the numbers of your business and whether that, of course, your profit and loss statement, really understanding it, but then also knowing like the numbers, the metrics to your industry, to your business, because I think where we get so involved is we get scared of the numbers or we get emotions get in the way of making decisions, or it becomes, oh, I think this person can get paid this, or I wonder if I should expand to a second location. This area sounds right. How many parking spots are in it? What are you taking in employee, any team members from this one to this one? Is there going to be a loss of revenue? To be a gain of revenue? So just really being able to attach as much data as possible to eliminate any fear, concern. There's always emotion in it, but taking the time to let the numbers speak for themselves um, is my biggest advice point.
That's true. I agree with you because then you know what's happening and you also have the prediction for the employees and for your team members to know where to go. It's playing a game, and when you
Yeah.
play a game without a score, without what you want to score, where are we at? I mean, it's not as much fun if you are actually know where you want to be, what you need to do, and then playing together as a team and getting that score and getting that accomplishment, right? A sense of accomplishment, a sense of winning, which is very important as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it even comes down, the small details. The funny story is we started offering wine as a welcome. You come into the salon, you check in, you get a glass of wine, but the experience needs to be consistent, right? So you can't come in one day and get a big glass of wine and a big pour and you have a great experience. And then the next time you have a small one. And so we bought these little carafes that had a 3 ounce marker and everyone knew exactly what to pour it to. So we knew how much wine to order. And then we'd write on a marker when it was opened with the date so it wasn't going bad. So, even the funny little details of that.
Yeah, all
Um,
those systems, all those processes, that's what makes the business work. And you
That's right.
mentioned something throughout the podcast that I really appreciated is that you're very, not, I don't know if you're strict, but you definitely have the demands and you
Mhm.
know what you want and you have the
Mhm.
processes, but that also gives the freedom to create, especially in a creative industry like the beauty industry. You have to be creative and you have to work with with a client what they want
Mhm.
and just have that creativity blossom, but that can only
Mhm.
happen when you have the roadmap of the other things that you don't have to worry about.
Exactly. Exactly. It's so true. You said it better than I could. So exclamation mark.
Thank you. Well, Hannah, you are I mean, it's such an inspiration talking to you because you are just doing it. You're not just talking the talk, you're not just advising people on how to do it, but you actually walking the walk and doing it, and then going to your next adventure and your next adventure. And with so much, it's so pleasant. You're so pleasant and kind, and you do it with a lot of fun and joy, which is a pleasure to see and be in in your energy in your environment because it's motivating. So I think that's also a very much a key to your success and what you're doing.
Thank you so much. That's very kind to say. It's exciting to, especially in this new venture. I mean, hair salons are definitely a place where people come to receive self-care, but to be able to go into this next venture, which is 100% a place for celebration, whether it be a corporate dinner or a wedding or a reunion or whatnot. So I get excited about that. I am a woman of prayer and I believe in blessing and I just lean into that gratitude. So thank you for the
Beautiful.
compliment.
You are very welcome. And if our listeners would like to get a hold of you, know more about you, maybe I mean, definitely book a venue. If book an event in your new venue, how can they reach out to you?
Yeah, I'll launch it on my website when it is ready to go live. But hlmcreative.com is my current website where I'm doing my consulting practice.
Beautiful. Okay, so we'll have it in the show notes. And again, Hannah, thank you so much for being a guest on this podcast.
We have to know, Addie and I started talking because of her amazing hair. So you are welcome. Thank you for reaching out to me, and I've enjoyed this time.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Systems Simplified podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.